Amina's life was hard, but her heart was soft in a dusty little African village, where the roads were dirt and the huts were made of mud and straw. Amina lived with her small son. She had no husband. Her goats were few. Her chickens laid little. But every morning she rose before the sun and faced the world with strength. The path to the well was long and lonely. Amina walked this path daily, carrying heavy clay pots on her head. The trees whispered in the wind. Birds called out in the stillness. But one thing made this path different from any other dot. An old man sat there, a beggar, crippled and alone. He sat on a worn mat by the road. His legs were twisted, useless. His clothes hung like rags on his thin frame. His name was Juma. No one knew where he came from. He had simply appeared one day and never left. His eyes seemed far away, full of sadness. Villagers called him cursed. Some children feared him. Adults passed him with cold eyes. Sometimes a coin would land near him. A scrap of bread would be thrown. Okay? But no one stopped. No one. Except Amina. She noticed how the old man sat alone every day. How he never asked for much. Just silence. Just life passing him by. One morning, after gathering water, Amina cooked her simple breakfast porridge made from millet. She scooped a portion into a small bowl and walked back to the path. Without a word, she sat beside him and offered the food. The old man looked at her, surprised. He nodded slowly. Marahaba. He said in a low voice. Amina smiled softly. Shikamu. They ate in quiet. No questions, no stories. Just the sun rising and the sound of the wind. From that day on, Amina made it her habit. Each morning she brought water, cooked porridge, and shared it with Juma. At first they hardly spoke. But as weeks passed, something changed. Juma began to talk. His voice was rough, but steady. He spoke of things Amina had never known. Great cities with roads of shining stone. Buildings taller than trees. Flying machines that touched the clouds. Amina listened with wonder. Could these stories be true? Or was it the dream of an old man who had lost too much? Still, she came. Every day, but not everyone understood. You waste your food on a beggar. One neighbor said sharply, You have your own child. Why feed a stranger? Another asked, but Amina only smiled. He eats alone. I do not want him to die alone. Her kindness did not stop. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months. Still Juma sat on his mat, and still Amina brought him porridge. But one day, one strange, cool evening after the rains, something unexpected happened. Amina walked the path as usual. The sky was dark with purple clouds. The earth smelled fresh. The birds were silent. When she reached the old man, he looked different. His eyes were bright, almost sharp. His voice was stronger. My daughter, he said softly, do you know who I am? Amina laughed gently. You are Juma, my friend. But the old man shook his head. No, I am more than that. Once I was a very rich man, a billionaire. I owned companies, houses, cars. I lived in the city of Nairobi. People feared me. People loved me. But I lost everything, family. Health, fortune. I came here with nothing. I wanted to see. Would anyone care for me? Not for my money, but for my soul. Amina stared in shock. Billionaire? Could this be true? Or was it the dream of an old man lost in memories? You, he said, voice trembling. You showed me kindness when no one else would. You gave me food. You gave me company. You gave me dignity. Amina had no words. Her heart raced. That night she could not sleep. Was it true? Could this crippled old man really be a billionaire? The next morning she rose early. She prepared porridge. She hurried down the path. But when she reached the place under the baobab trees, the mat was empty. Juma was gone. Only his mat remained. And on it a folded letter. Amina's hands shook as she picked it up. Slowly she opened it. The writing was neat and strong. This land, this house, and the bank account are now yours. You gave me life. You gave me hope. You gave me love when I had none. MZ Juma. Along with the letter was a title deed and a bank slip with numbers that made her eyes widen in disbelief. Her heart pounded. Could it be true? Amina sat on the dusty path. Her hands shook. The letter and bank slip trembled in her lap. The morning sun climbed the sky, but her mind spun in circles. Could this be true? Could the poor crippled man she fed each day truly be a billionaire? Had he really left her this land, this money, this future? Her son tugged at her dress. "Mama, what is wrong?" She looked down at his innocent face and forced a smile. "Nothing, my son, nothing at all." But deep inside, her heart raced like a drum. Word spread quickly in the village. Curious neighbors gathered near her hut. They whispered. They stared. "Is it true?" One woman gasped. "She says he gave her land." Another cried. Amina showed them the letter and the title deed. The paper was official. The seal of the city glistened in the morning light. Still many doubted. "It is a trick." One man shouted. "How can a crippled beggar be a billionaire?" "Yes, we saw him with our own eyes. He was poor." Another agreed. But the paper was real. The name on the deed was clear. Juma Omari. And then, days later, a black car arrived in the village, sleek, polished, shining in the dust. No one had seen such a car here before. Two men in suits stepped out. Their eyes searched the crowd. "Where is Amina?" One asked. Fear gripped her heart. Were they here to take the papers back? Had she been tricked? "I am Amina," she said softly. The men bowed slightly. "We come from Nairobi. We work for the late Mr. Juma Omari. He passed away 3 days ago. He left strict orders. We are here to help you." Amina's knees nearly buckled. He was gone, truly gone. And yet his words were true. The men handed her more papers, bank documents, maps of land, keys to a house in the city. "It is all yours," one man said gently. "Mr. Juma spoke highly of you." The village gasped. They could no longer deny it. The old crippled beggar had truly been a billionaire. Shock rippled through the people. How could this be? He was always here, alone, poor. But Amina fed him every day. Okay? As Amina owned land, good land by the river. She owned a house in the city. Okay. She had money to last a lifetime. But her heart remained humble. She did not pack her bags and leave. She did not dress in fine clothes or speak with pride. Instead, she called the elders of the village. She sat before them and said, "This wealth is not only mine. It is a gift that must be shared. MZ Juma was cared for here. I will care for others." And so the change began. Amina built a large new hut, a shelter for the old and the sick. She hired men to fix the village. Well, so no one would carry water so far again. She bought more goats, more chickens, more grain, and shared it with families in need. She paid for the children of the village to attend school. And each morning, she still walked the path beneath the baobab trees on the worn mat where MZ Juma once sat. She placed a small bowl of porridge. For him, she would whisper, "In case he returns." But deep inside, she knew he would not return. He had found peace. And through his gift, her life and the life of the whole village had changed forever. People from other villages came to see. They heard the tale and marveled. A poor woman feeds a beggar, not knowing he is a billionaire. She shows kindness without seeking reward, and in return her life is transformed. The story spread far and wide. It reached the towns. It reached the city. Even the newspapers printed the tale. Kindness beyond measure. The woman who fed a billionaire beggar. Amina's name was now known by many. But she remained the same, simple, gentle, kind, and each time someone asked her why she had helped MZ Juma, her answer was always the same. Kindness costs nothing, but sometimes it changes everything. And so the tale of Amina, the woman with the heart of gold, lives on. A story of how one act of compassion, small and simple, can shake the earth and light the sky.